right, I haven't heard from Tatum. I don't know how I would hear from him, so I don't know if he's coming or not. He said he wanted to come on. He said, put me on your next live. I said I would. I sent him a message saying I go live at 7 o'clock, so we'll give him till 7, maybe 7:10. If he doesn't show up, we'll just assume he got busy or whatever. But anyway, so I know it's 6 o'clock. Damn, early. Yeah, because all you guys are always giving me shit that I'm late. I got to be early once in a while to keep you guys off my back. What? Alex. Nope. She won't answer. All right. Let's see here. 18th. Shit, Rick's going to be late. Pew pew already starting shit. What the hell? Feet to the higher. Rick can rip him. I really don't want to rip him. I want to understand how somebody can believe what he believes. Now liberals, I don't understand. They're just too freaking stupid. So I don't really care what they believe or how they believe because they make no sense. It's all about calling names, etc. But somebody like Tate, who is a Second Amendment guy, who seems like a pretty good dude, I want to understand how we can agree on certain things and then be so far apart on this issue. It just boggles my mind. I mean, I can tell you where it's going to go. You don't understand. It was busy. They tried. The door was locked. The chief took control. Nobody could override him. He was scared. He didn't have a radio. The cops were just following. I mean, I know what he's going to say. You know, hostage. They thought it was a hostage. Once the chief said it was a hostage, they were supposed to raid. They were following procedure. They did the right thing. They weren't cowards. I mean, I'm telling you, if he comes on, that's what he's going to say. I mean, that's the only reasonable thing he could say. But I don't buy any of that. It's bullshit. There's too many unanswered. I started making a list. I'm eating one of my little Werthers or whatever you call them. I never can pronounce it. Werthers, whatever. That way I'll get some complaints about, why is he eating when he's talking to us? That's rude. Shut up, you freaking crybabies. All right. Well, I just saw somebody fly by. Rick got laid. It freaking went away. Where did he go? Greetings from Montreal, Canada. Hey, I like when I got some liberal voting people from Canada that start seeing the light that they're getting screwed by their country and shit's about to hit the fan. Butterscotch. Is that what they are? I don't know what they are. I thought they were like caramel. Rick has a bed here. Yeah, I didn't kind of, I just said, screw it. I was out there watering the plants. I gave the horses a bath. It's like 101 degrees here. So I've been doing a few things. And then my buddy called. Rick's got bedhead. I wish I had bedhead. If I had bedhead, I wouldn't be in a freaking grumpy mood. I'd be in here, woohoo, what's up, boys and girls? Shit, I feel good. But anyway, I don't know if it's butterscotch. I thought it was caramel. Maybe it is butterscotch. There's my Rick and Brandon. One wears the blue lipstick still. Now look, if Tatum comes on here, you guys gotta. I mean, I don't expect people to represent me, but I think my gun people are usually pretty educated, articulate. They ask good questions. They're not just this screw everybody, fuck you, you're a racist, you're a piece of shit. You know, I don't keep a lot of those people around because I usually end up blocking them because they're not productive. They just stir up shit. So most of the people that comment here usually are fairly articulate. They ask good questions and they provoke good conversation. I just saw a yellow flash by. Man, that dude throwing more money. Dude, you have to see the police activity though. I think the guy's named Keiko in the title. They shoot the guy in the, I saw that. About 15, 20 people sent that to me. Dude comes out with a hunting rifle, turns around and goes back in. I haven't watched the whole thing. I just saw enough to where they shot and I went, what the? And I'm assuming because they were there on a single vehicle accident, he got drunk, came home, crashed his car. So they're trying to get him for deuce. I'm thinking, I don't know. I haven't watched the video yet. But all I know is is it his girlfriend, his wife, his cute sister, whoever was out front. I was like, wow, I wonder what they're contacting her for. And then she's kind of kissing their ass a little bit. And then she kind of like pushes him back in and says, no, with the gun. And he shoots him in the back. That was a pretty typical pussy bullshit. It's definitely going to be on earning the hate because there's just no justification whatsoever to shoot a guy in the back. He had a 30-06 by the freaking barrel, which is a single shot. He never pointed at anybody. He walked out because he heard a commotion. He was drunk. They're there investigating a drunk. And he walks out not knowing what's going on, so he's got a gun. Cops freak out. She says, no, pushes him back inside. His back's turned, and they shoot him in the back. He's paralyzed. I don't think he died. I'm like, what the? But I've got so many videos that I got to do. So, believe me, it's getting there. Time to toke up. What? Chief Smoke a lot. Guy paralyzed for life. They drop all charges. Yeah, because they ain't going to get a conviction. Too much money. If they send, when somebody's paralyzed and they try to get a conviction, now you have to take him into custody. He's got to post bail. If he doesn't, you got to guard him. You got to bring him to court every day. You got to take him back from court. You're responsible for him with that court. You got to feed him. You got to do all this shit for him. And it's like, oh, government says, screw it. I mean, if we paralyze you, you can't pay taxes. You're of no use to us. Screw it. We'll just drop the charges. Where is that damn video? Somebody just sent me a video. I got to get to my history here. Hopefully it shows up. Yeah. What's up with this? This is some weird ass shit. Hopefully my viewers can hook me up here. Hang on, let me share my screen so you guys know what the hell I'm doing. Share. So who has seen this video yet? So this guy who did the video is either a freaking troll, a government flunky, or a complete idiot. He doesn't identify any of the cops, any location. I thought I heard Utah. I can't identify a patch. There are cops with no insignia. They have Riot Police. There has to be at least 50 to 100 cops here, and they arrested all these dudes out of this U-Haul van.
All right, guys. Solid stop by Idaho law enforcement. Check.
Idaho law enforcement. Finally. I thought I said Utah. I still don't know what city or anything. And there's a...
These guys stopped a U-Haul full of dudes masked up.
So this guy's like, oh, they're masked up like the KKK. So that's why I think this guy's kind of a plant. But there are so many cops. And there's these dudes right here. I'm assuming they're feds. They seem like they're in charge. They're decked out in SWAT gear. They're freaking art, no patches, no name tags, no nothing. Good thing we can't have a standing order in this country. Good thing that we have laws that said law enforcement must be identified by a patch or name or must identify when requested. Good thing we have all that because these fucking thugs here, I mean, I don't know what these guys did, but there is a show of a military force here that is fucking crazy. I thought at first it was a training video. I was like, oh man, these dudes are all in camis. They're all dressed the same. This might be a show of force. This might be as this video plays through, I mean, there is a bunch of people filming out here. So these are all the guys. This guy's got a shirt on that says Reclaim America. And I went, oh shit, that sounds like one of my fellow patriots. What's up with that? Holy shit, I love them. $100. I'm rich. At what point do we quit making excuses to play nice, peaceful? I know. I'm with you. We can't promote violence, and I know you're not promoting violence. And thanks a lot for that freaking money, even though Google's going to take half piece of shit. Anyway, I'm thinking the same thing. If these guys are fellow patriots and he's wearing a shirt that says Reclaim America, my guess is they did something. I'm going to mute it because this guy's kind of idiot anyway, all that playing background. These guys did something. They had something planned. There was 15 of them in the back of a U-Haul. And now they're all handcuffed, being pretty cooperative, I might add, and they're all kneeling down. You know what? If you arrest me and I already know I'm going to jail and you tell me to kneel and don't move, I'm going to say, fuck you. I'm in custody. I'll do what the fuck I want. Put me in a fucking car. I'm already going to fucking jail. I'm not going to sit here and kneel down in front of you, you fucking slave master pieces of shit. Look at that fucking hat on that freaking tyrant. So I don't know. The guy filming this is just a complete idiot. I don't even know which channel it's on. I can tell you, I guess, if I have to go back. But supposedly there was makeshift shields in this van. I really wish somebody had some intel on this. A lot of people are saying feds. The feds are definitely involved. Look at all these cops they get for a traffic stop. I mean, they have literally 100 cops. To me, I'm thinking this is either an exercise or they had a fed inside and they set these guys up and they were tracking and somebody knew. The feds knew and they were just going to set them up to get taken into custody. But I haven't heard anything on the news. I haven't heard about the arrest. I'm sure it's going to be something to do with white supremacy, the biggest problem in the world. I don't know what it is, but if these are Second Amendment patriots and they were planning on doing something, I'm kind of on their side. I'm just sick and tired of our fucking government. And, nobody can fucking do anything. Not that I think violence is the answer and we shouldn't be doing violence and we should handle everything like peaceful protest. Maybe these guys were going there for a peaceful protest. That would be nice. I would support that. I think we can all get behind a peaceful protest. Why are they still masked up? Yeah, see, I don't understand. How did they all get handcuffed and why didn't anybody start filming before? Suddenly this video starts after they're all set up, kneeling and handcuffed. And all these cops are here. There's a U-Haul that was there. I think he says where the plate is on the U-Haul. Just a very, very weird traffic stop. And they tell the people, stand back. You can videotape if you want to. Don't get on the grass. Officer safety. The cops are semi not wanting to start a fucking riot. But there's a lot of cops. In a minute, you're going to see this one guy scan back on all the people filming. I bet you there's 100, 150 people filming. There's enough people to where they could take over this scene. Which, if I was doing a movie on the country, in my movie, they would take over the scene and they would grab all the cops and it'd be 2 or 3 to 1 for a cop and all the cops would be in handcuffs. That's in my movie. I'm not promoting violence, saying that we should do that. But if I did a movie I really want to do a movie about the way the country is going, that would be my movie scene. Lots of bald heads, lots of canisters. One dude's got like a big 40 millimeter for launching either tear gas or smoke grenades. I'm still waiting for somebody. Nobody knows anything about this. No cops on cameras are telling cameras step back. They told them to stay off the grass. They're not telling them to step back. They said you can videotape from the sidewalk, just don't get on the grass. And what's in Idaho? Is Idaho a big Second Amendment area? I mean, I don't know anybody, in Idaho. I think Rick did a video on this one and was criticized. Undercover feds. What? This was a bank robbery? I think this was just posted. North Country Off Grid posted it. Horrible freaking video, dude. Freaking sounds like a left-wing Fed plant cracking on freaking everybody but the freaking tyrannical government. But there's no information. Thank you for turning in. Please make sure and thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. North Country Grid. Doesn't say Idaho, city, agency, nothing. Not a fucking thing. North Country Off Grid, you're a fucking idiot. He's got 121 subscribers. He got as much as I do. And he fucking can't give more information than this? Fuck. Whatever. Now everybody's going to be going there. Yo, man, I'll watch him. He's a good guy. I'm going to tell him you talk shit about him. Randy. Oh, Rizzy? Randy Weaver? No shit. Why is everyone so calm? I know. I don't get it. It is a very, very odd scene. Idaho pros to it. Really? Well, maybe they were on their way to do a peaceful protest and it got busted up. Oh, Placatello, Idaho has a lot. Oh, I think that's where it's at. Because I stopped on one of the patches and I couldn't make it out. But it was CATE something. I bet you that's where it's at. I mean, the amount of cops that they got on this freaking call is like crazy. This happened today. Really? Still, there should be some newspaper, something. I haven't Googled it yet. I guess I could Google it and see. North Idaho is the interstate from Washington. What? Lots of issues in Idaho. What kind of issues? Like American patriot freedom-loving issues? That's good. There needs to be more issues of that in every damn state. Skinheads. The cops look more like skinheads than these guys. That guy looks like a guy I used to work with on a sheriff's department. So they had these white masks on. I don't know why. All these guys in green and they're freaking, I call them the marshmallow Snake Puff fucking, what's that show where they Ghostbusters outfits? I don't know why they got so much fucking info. You'd think they were going into a freaking riot zone or something. I mean, all their equipment, elbow pads and freaking tear gas. This is a very weird video with no information. Maybe I'm getting trolled again about the meteor that's supposed to hit freaking Texas. What do you think Oliver Tatum will say? I covered that in the first one. I think he's feds arresting feds for a news story. That's kind of almost what it looks like. I don't want to admit that, but it kind of looks like that. Nobody's getting roughed up. Nobody's resisting. None of the guys who are handcuffed are saying a fucking word. If you're going to get handcuffed and you're on some sort of mission and the government fucks it up, you need to yell out and start talking to the people filming so people will know. Not one of these guys say one word about nothing. Now, they may be thinking and been briefed, hey, if we get stopped, everyone requests a lawyer, nobody say a word. Then I would get it. Very odd video. Oh, they're taking Patriot doesn't do shit. The only way I'm going to know if Tate gets here is if he comes in the comments. So let me on so I can send him a link. So if he shows up, everybody start posting he's here. So I know. Staged right-wing submission sting. Yeah, I mean, I don't. Dude, y'all should go watch the video because it's just odd as shit. And I was just viewing it like 30 minutes before I came up here and I went, what the hell? I said, somebody on my channel will know. I got all kind of, a lot of tyranny in Idaho. Well, seeing all these fucking cops with no name tags and no flags, and you got a fucking 100-man army for 15 guys in a U-Haul, that's some serious tyranny to me. When government can amass 100 people that quick, man, that's some hardcore tyranny. Yeah, you would think good cops would be on the side of militia. When I was a cop, I was on the side of militia. I didn't give a shit. I was pro-Second Amendment. I didn't like government tyranny. This guy had a vest on. What does that mean? He's the undercover fed? Hey, man, I'm going to wear a vest so you'll know I'm the undercover guy. Very, very weird thing. You know what? You said a lot of rumors are starting up. I made a copy, the email. Let me see if I can open my email and find that from the feds. Oh, you know what? I got to search. Oh, I don't have my iPhone. Damn. I got a link from Homeland Security that gave me a threat assessment saying in the next few months, there's a high risk of extremists taking action in America. We're on high alert, according to the feds. Let me see if I can get to the feds over here. Homeland. I can't believe I'm typing this. When I was growing up, Homeland was Russia used that for their fucking thing, and we hated Russia, and Russia was our enemy, the Cold War and all that shit. Homeland Security. Yeah, that makes me feel safe. Bulletin. Let's see. Bulletin today. We'll just say this. Department of Homeland Security Terrorist Advisory. So I got some email about this. If you go to their website, Department of Homeland recently issued a national, let me blow this up a little bit, a national terrorism advisory due to the continued heightened threat environment across America. Really? You are freaking coming after guns left and right. You're calling a riot a freaking armed attack. I mean, this freaking hit piece, which I did not watch, on freaking the January 6th big riot that was trying to overthrow, and we almost lost our country because of those mean Trump supporting patriots. And it was a huge uprising. Not one person pulled a gun. The only person that got shot was one of the protesters by a fucking pussy cop who shot an unarmed female. And they cleared the whole thing out in 3 hours. If that was a fucking insurrection, it was the most failed insurrection ever attempted in history. We're in a country where everybody can carry firearms, and you show up to an insurrection with no firearms, and it's cleared out in 3 hours. And fucking you got Pelosi and the rest of those assholes talking about, we almost lost democracy. It was almost over. Oh, my God. And they kept that one fucker in jail for 13 months. He hasn't been charged. That one Proud Boy. 13 months. Calling him a rioter. He didn't do anything. They're trying to get him for planning. Yet BLM was burning down and looting and raping and committing crimes and taking over government buildings and city blocks for weeks at a time. And it was peaceful protest. There was no mention of trying to overthrow it. It's just fucking bizarro land. I just don't get it. Threat environment expecting to become more dynamic. Several high-profile events could be exploited to justify acts of violence against a range of possible targets. Well, I'm assuming the possible targets is fucking government. Otherwise, you wouldn't give a shit. Some of these threats are set out in hopes of impacting events such as public gatherings, faith-based institutions, schools, racial and ethnic and religious minorities. Oh, my goodness. Government facilities and personnel. There's government facilities and that's what you really care about. You don't give a shit about the other one. And other critical infrastructure. DHS says they're working with the FBI to relay information and intelligence across the level of government to ensure the safety of our citizens, because that's what they care about. Fucking lying pieces of shit. Crazy ass shit. All right, where's my damn... Get down on my comments here, see if anybody knows what that... DC cops clubbed that woman to death. They fucking shot her. Did they kill another woman? Somebody posted or sent me a link saying they said 5 or 6 officers were killed during that shooting. Not one during the January 6th big riot. Not one officer died at that riot. Even a guy that had a heart attack, he had a stroke the next day. He didn't die of the warning. He could have been freaking eating donuts his whole life, and that's why he had a stroke. He had a stroke the next day. Then they had somebody else died fucking, he shot himself. And they blamed it on the January 6th. Cop suicide is high anyway. So a cop shoots himself, and it was somewhere near January 6th. Oh, it was the riot. It was the big try to take over. They made this guy kill himself. Just fucking stupid. Idaho State Police District 5 is Pakatala. Looks like it has something to do with the Pride in the Park event later on this afternoon. What's a Pride in the Park? Also, I wonder if this was Antifa. These guys look too neat and organized to be Antifa. It's kind of funny when I watch this. Watch the background. You keep seeing flags and signs come by. And I'm like, what the hell's going on? They got a lot of freaking cops. I was just like, you got to be shitting me. They got that many freaking cops for one traffic stop? They did kill 2 women. I didn't know that. I didn't know they beat another woman to death. Hey, Rick from Guam. Man, that's like the scuba diving capital of the world. Everybody that was a scuba diver kept trying to get to Guam. I wasn't a big scuba diver, but the guys who were like big into it, they all wanted to get to Guam. Yeah, no shit. Can't go on to get... So the government is warning us that they're planning to do something evil. FBI is now run by. I know the FBI is just a hit. I mean, it is literally the KGB of the Democrat Party. I think of all government, because I think the Republicans use it too. We got weekend. Look at these guys. I do not get this. Why are they being so cooperative? They got nice jackets. Everybody's clean. They're all wearing the same color pants. See, this is where people get in trouble when you get like uniforms. You get a hierarchy. Now you start becoming a gang. Remember, a gang is 2 or more people with either colors, uniforms, or a code with a hierarchy for leadership, leaders, etc., a rank structure. When you get all those, you fall under a gang, and now they get to charge you with felony gang involvement. You're a member or whatever. Now you're listed as a gang member. Now you're registered as a gang member. And now they freaking slap every charge. Any other charge you get is because you're a gang member. So committing a crime while being a gang member, having a weapon while being a gang member, breaking into a building and furtherance of your gang. You're just screwed. Posted 44 minutes ago. Cop says police had info from informant led to traffic stop. All arrested for conspiracy to riot. Really? What's this walk in the park shit? Anybody watching the trials? What trials? I know what trials are. We call it a clue. Is that are they trying to televise that? They're saying they're televising the trials of the January 6th. They haven't even charged anybody yet. Sir, look up Owen Benjamin moved from state of Washington to Idaho. More free there, he says. He was kicked out of Hollywood for going against the trans. The local pad is doing a press conference in 15 minutes on Idaho video. Oh, search. All right, let me go back and search this, and we'll get the briefing on this. What am I searching? Clos de Blanc. Clos de Blanc is a wine, in case somebody was wondering where I got that name from. It just popped in. COEUREDALENE news. What the hell is that? Police detain a group found inside UHaul in Quo d'Alene. Oh, maybe that's the area. That's not a person. Quo d'Alene must be the area in Idaho. Police stopped a U-Haul van Saturday, detained about 20 people. Detained, they didn't arrest, who were dressed the same. Oh, I haven't seen this picture yet. Look at that. I wonder if this is different footage. That looks like the door is shut. Oh, shit. This is the actual hookup. So this dude gets out. Looks like he got out with a megaphone and said, no problem. Man, I'm surprised they didn't shoot everybody in there. These guys had their hands up. I'm surprised a freaking cop. This guy's got his gun. Is that a gun or a taser? He's ready to shoot. This guy's like, whatever. This is bullshit. This must be on a loop. So that's all we're going to see. Huh. All right, let's finish reading since they got footage that we didn't see. Quo d'Alene, Idaho. Police stopped U-Haul Saturday. 20 people found inside. Photos of the scene. Group dressed in the same khakis, navy blue shirts, beige hats, and white cloth covering their face. The truck was stopped northwest bound near Paul Bunyan. Paul Bunyan was a big tree chopper, wasn't he? Not far from the area where Quo d'Alene Pride event. These guys were going there because they're not proud, did not know what bathroom they're using. So they were probably not supporting the march. Police stepped up their presence in the area during the event. How did they know? Who ratted them out? The U-Haul was placed in zip ties, put in vans, and taken away from the scene. It appears they did not come engaged in the peaceful events, County Sheriff Bob said. Back of the U-Haul was filled with evidence bags from police, still visible what appeared to be homemade riot shield. It can't be just a shield, maybe to protect yourself from freaking cops, and some protective equipment. A tow truck was called to take away the U-Haul. Southbound lanes were locked. Okay, so that's what it was. Not a big deal. I was hoping it was like a bunch of patriots were like going to say enough's enough, and have a peaceful protest. Maybe that's what they were. All right, so shit. Now I can get back to the other shit that I wanted to cover. Anybody heard from Tatum? Did he pop in while I'm up here doing this shit? New thing in Michigan, Middle Eastern doctor school, women begging for money. Oh my God, that shit's North County off grid. He filmed it. Gay Day, Prayer Day, same has Pride Day. Green Day? Oh, I thought that's a gay. Green Day, Prayer Day, same as Pride Day? The hell does that mean? Pride and perversion. Feds arresting federal tax dollars at work. Is a patron front FBI host, Mr. Reagan YouTube panel explains it all as a hoax. Hey, Yankee, it'll be in your neck of the woods Tuesday, loading. Antifa dressed as patriots. Could be. Biden will call troops heroes. Of course. He'll make a visit down there and go visit the children. It was pretty weird. I found it's back like a local Rick. Okay. Let's all get together. Cord DeLon. What's the crime? Well, they said conspiracy to riot, which means they have to have, in order to have a conspiracy, you need 2 or more people conspiring to break the law, and then you have an overt act to complete that conspiracy. They got several overt acts. All they need now is a statement where they're planning. So they got to either have a wiretap, Facebook post, text, or an informant to say, here's the plan. Here's what we're doing. Here's what we want to do when we get there, blah, blah, blah. Now we have a conspiracy. As soon as one person does one overt act, they rented a van. They loaded in a van. They made makeshift things. They wore the same uniform. They were all in the back of a van going to the place. They covered their face. So you have multiple overt acts to complete the conspiracy. I just don't know how they got the conspiracy planning part. Somehow they know that. Oh, yeah, it's gay month. Is it gay month? I didn't even know gays had a month. Does straight white males have a month? Glowies are proud. I don't know what a glowy is. God help them if they went to counter protest. Oh, no shit. Ukraine is like the freaking blessed child, man. I think the only thing that got more protection is the freaking... I don't even know anything that got more protection in Ukraine. It's just crazy. Counter protest. Yeah. You think they were going to arrest? You think they were going to arrest Antifa when Trump had a protest? That they would stop them and arrest them because they were going to? Of course not. Our fucking government just hates patriots. They want dead freaking sheep idiots. And every government flunky that supports and protects them. Surprised Rick didn't mention the ponytail posse guarding the light pole. I didn't see the ponytail posse. Blue shirts are illegal. Patriots are protesting pride. Yeah, that's why. Feds. All right. So nobody's heard from ex-bootlegger. What happened to the right to assemble? Yeah, no shit. Well, I'll tell you what happened. I mean, I'm not telling you that I agree with this, but I'm going to explain to you like government's going to explain to you. Everyone has a right to peaceful protests, and everybody has a right to protest. However, you got to get a permit. If you don't have a permit, you're an unlawful assembly, and you can be arrested. And if your intention is not to peaceful protest, like you get shields and weapons and makeshift weapons, and you talk about how you're going to go beat up some faggots or whatever the hell they use, whatever language they used, if you got text and communication with all that shit, you lose your right to protest because you're not going there to protest. You're going there to engage in violence. Therefore, it's conspiracy to commit a crime. They've got riot. I'm not sure what the definition of Idaho, what a riot is. Let's see if I can find out real quick. Definition of riot, Idaho. Any action, use, oh, hang on, let me guys, let you read this with me. Any action, use of force or violence or threat thereof, disturbing the public peace, any threat to use such force or violence, if accompanied by the immediate power of execution by two or more persons acting together without authority of law, meaning if the feds want to do it, they can, without the authority of law, which results in A, physical injury. Let's see what B is. A, physical injury. B, damage or destruction to public and private property. C, a disturbance of a public peace is a riot. So that's what a riot is in Idaho. So they've obviously, if they got them. Now, anytime you have a crime, conspiracy to commit that crime is much easier to prove. That's why conspiracy is such a popular charge. Hey, man, I'm going to go in 7-Eleven and I want a candy bar and I'm going to steal it. So go talk to the person and ask them. That's a conspiracy. As soon as we walk into 7-Eleven, we made an overt act. We're guilty of conspiracy, of theft, or burglary of the 7-Eleven that we were going into. We planned it. We walked in it. We did an overt act. He walks over, distracts. He's involved. I'm involved. Conspiracy. Done. We don't even have to complete it. I don't even have to pick up a candy bar. He can walk over there, and while I'm going to pick up the candy bar, I go, hey, man, let's skip it. I chickened out. Too late. We've already committed conspiracy. We planned it, and we did an overt act to further that conspiracy. Done. That's why a conspiracy charge, when loose lips sink ships, you need to be careful. Any type of planning or any type of conversation or group that you're in, when it starts going this way, you need to make sure that language isn't locking you into conspiracy. Because let's say there's 5 of us playing poker, and one dude says, man, one more fucking drink, and I'm going to go fucking steal a 6-pack at 7-Eleven. I'll drive. You motherfuckers got to help me. Nobody says anything. He does it. A few minutes later, he goes, fuck it. Let's go to 7-Eleven and steal some liquor. And everybody gets in a car. We're done. Everybody's guilty of that theft. Somebody dies, now you're all guilty of murder. You're all co-conspirators. All right. What about them bulldozing school? That's some bullshit, man. They want to destroy that freaking shit quick. They are all over getting rid of that damn school. Oh, here we go. One of my conspiracy people. And look, people, I know that conspiracy theorist is a term that was made up by government in order to discredit anybody that went against the government narrative. I get it. So conspiracy theorists are left like racist. It's a made-up word to silence anybody that talks against a group that the government likes. Okay? If you say anything, you're a racist, you're a bigot, you're a homophobe, you're a white supremacist. Those names are all things to shut people up and stifle free speech. I get it. But the problem is I don't like sounding like a racist, okay? I know I'm not a racist, but I don't want to run around and start saying, yeah, we need to hang up all those Mexicans come across the border and hang them on the bridge. Now I sound like what they're claiming that I am, and I just further their freaking ignorance. So when I say I don't want to sound like a conspiracy theorist, I don't want to jump without facts to the immediate thing. Oh, the government planned it. It's a false flag. They're lying. They set it up. They let the children. They just want the guns. They planned it, Rick. You're an idiot for not going with it. It just gets too freaking wild. I mean, just to think of the number of people. Now, there is a video or there's a list somewhere about what conspiracy theorists use to justify false flags or something. And one of them is always government is not good at planning or keeping secrets, and they couldn't do it. Everybody couldn't keep a secret. I believe that's true. Okay? If anybody thinks Uvalde is a freaking government conspiracy, it was planned. The guy who gave the Beto was in on it. The chief was in on it. A couple cops were in on it. They were all talking with the FBI, and they were told to stand down because this was a false. The kids really didn't die, and they don't want to let us see the crime scene. So all the funerals are fake. I mean, it just gets so freaking. I mean, you get so many people, ambulance, people doing autopsies. There is no way that you're going to convince me that many people are going to go along with a lie like this just to get the guns. First of all, you got to find that many people that hate guns enough to go along with this freaking shit. Now, I don't put anything past government. I get it. They'll lie. They'll poison. They'll freaking destroy shit. They'll send in, false shit and fucking bomb somebody to start a war and say we didn't have nothing to do with it. They'll let shit happen that's bad and then claim that, oh my God, I get all that. But this false flag, the chief was in on it, and he was planning with the FBI and the CIA, shot the guy up with drugs, and he's a patsy. And I'm just like, come on, people. Give me something a little bit better than that. That just makes you sound crazy. I won't even use conspiracy there. It just makes you sound crazy and unreasonable. Rick, you don't get it. You're stupid. You're missing all the actors were told to be part, won't get injured. Here we go. What about them bulldog school? I can't believe they're going to do that, man. As a parent, I think the parents should claim, I want to see where my kid died. I want to see photos of how my kid was found. I mean, they're saying the AR-15 blew off heads. Heads were decapitated. I mean, I seriously wanted to do a breaking news story. I was going to make a fake video and go, new news on Uvalde. When the police went in, the guy had cut arms off kids and piled them in a corner. And he had decapitated them and piled the heads in a separate corner. I was just going to make up some wild, outlandish shit and go, if we can believe it, why are you going to question what I'm saying and nobody's questioning what the government's saying? Government's saying all these kids were shot multiple times, 100 rounds, couldn't identify them except for their shoes. Their arms were blown off. Their heads were decapitated. Nobody's asking a fucking question. It's like we just believe it. So why the fuck can't I just start saying all the arms were cut off and they were piled in one corner and all the legs were cut off the kids and put in another corner? Then people will be like, oh man, that's fake news. You can't. They'd be all over me, calling me that's not right. But the government's doing we haven't seen one crime scene. Dude, there is plenty of photos and videos of people getting killed. They blur it out. They blur out the blood. You see the dead body. You see the crime scene. In Ukraine video that showed to Congress that went public, you saw dead kids on a gurney, CPR, people crying, this is the war, look at this dead child. No blurring, no nothing. So why is it when government wants to force fucking $58 billion to Ukraine and tell us we need to support them, and meanwhile we can't secure our fucking schools, can't secure our border, $58 billion to Ukraine, we can show dead kids. But when 15 kids are dead and we got to get the ARs in the big mad magazines, we can't show one fucking picture. It's just bullshit. And there's some other questions. I'm making a list on some of the questions of Uvalde shit because it's, remember the one little girl that said he was playing the death music or music that sounded like death? Remember that one girl gave a statement, said he was playing music, death music. So if she heard the music, I doubt if he had headphones on. So if she heard the music, I haven't heard the teacher say they heard music, and I haven't heard one cop say they heard music. Matter of fact, we heard the chief say that he was talking to the guy, and he didn't want to, and he asked him to come out, and the guy was shooting through the door. Never once said there was music. I had to yell. I was yelling over the music. I heard music. School teacher came in, shot me twice with that mean AR that explodes bullets. The 9mm falls out of lung. The AR decapitates kids. He was shot twice, laid in there, bleeding for over an hour before the cops came in. And now he's giving an interview a week later, supposedly shot in the lung. Maybe he could have nicked the lung. I mean, that's not a huge thing, but he didn't mention shit about loud music. He didn't mention one word about music. And I'm just like, what? We haven't heard one thing about the windows in that school building. I mean, look, on our SWAT team, if we had a high area and we needed to get in and we had bodies, we would haul people in the back of a pickup truck. Somebody would drive that pickup truck to get us in a higher level to get us to that door, and we'd make entry through the window. I mean, that was part of our planning because you do shit that may or may not happen. If you've got a building, it's like, hey, man, how are we going to get in this building if something happens? If they barricade, what's a good way? And one of the ways, we pile in this freaking truck. It puts us up high enough. We don't have to put up ladders. He can pull up. We can maintain low, get ready, and we can pop up. We can have guys cover through the window while other guys are going through the window. Why didn't they do anything with the windows? I haven't heard one question about windows. The window and the door. When it first came out, we heard the window was busted. The guy shot the window out when he shot the teacher and got through the door. And people were like, he reached through. That's how he got in, the window. If there was a window, and all schools supposed to have windows on the doors for fire hazard, why weren't the cops looking through the window? Why weren't cops shooting through the window? Why weren't they throwing in tear gas or something in the window? Why didn't they do anything with that window? No information. It's just crazy, the shit that I'm like, why isn't somebody asking these? And I know the conspiracy theory, Rick, they're not asking on purpose. It's planned. They're not allowed to. I don't believe that shit. I'm on the side that we have incompetent government and incompetent media, and nobody critical thinks, and you don't have somebody that's tactically sound that's like, none of this shit makes sense. Anybody that's got any tactical training, it doesn't make sense. Nobody throws their radio out before they go in and answer. It just doesn't make sense. But whatever. What the hell do I know? Where the hell's Tatum? All right. Not that Rick's beauty isn't entertainment enough. What's going on? People talking about my beauty? Are y'all still cracking on my bedhead? Police, oh, here we go. The Freemasons. It's the Jews, the Freemasons. All right. Windows cost money. Yeah, okay. Over 900. Oh, I got 906 people. Hey, new gun people. I usually have like 400 or 500. Silence is cover up. Let's see. U.S. government obsession has lied, done things shady. Well, look, the 9/11 thing, everybody's like they planned it. They weren't really dead, blah, 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 blah. There was a couple things that I had problems with. And the biggest problem I got with that, the building that had the explosions, it does seem like it was a planned reduction of a building. It looked pretty freaking staged and odd. I get that. But the thing that kills me is there was 23 or 26 cameras at the Pentagon that saw the plane hit. And the government has classified all but the one they gave us, which is blurry and shit vision. And you can't even tell it's a fucking plane. And that's the only one out of 26 videos of that plane hitting that thing. I mean, if that doesn't scream the government's lying, I don't know what is. Now, how much are they lying? They lie all the time. And that's I think that's part of their plan. We want people to think that we're lying. We want to put out misinformation so people question. We want to change the story so people can't keep up with the story, and then they'll get tired of following it, and they won't know what to believe. And that way, when we lie, they'll probably write it off as it was a mistake, or it may be the truth, or it may not, or it's going to, and they start ignoring it. I don't put that past government. But this big planning shit, I just can't get there. I'm sorry. Well, I would love to end government schools. I think anybody sends their kid to government school is freaking crazy. I mean, it's just, you need a homeschool. Schools used to be maintained by the community, and a school teacher was hired by the community, and you knew what was done in your schools, and you knew what was being taught. And when your kids came home with homework, you helped them. Parents don't have a damn clue. Hell, they got their kids going to school, eating breakfast, hanging out when they could be home, eating breakfast, hanging out with the teacher, getting a free lunch, learning about how to fucking put a rubber on a fucking banana or some bullshit. And then they come home and they're like, how was your day at school? Like, all right, go get ready for breakfast tomorrow. You'll go back and get free breakfast. I mean, the schools have turned in everything the federal government sticks their fingers in goes to shit. And can you just tell me something the federal government doesn't have? I mean, it's like gas. They took over the federal government, environmental, blah, 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 blah. Air flight, FAA, we got to have Federal Airways. The FCC, oh, you can't talk on the radio. It's got to be the federal. The federal government has become this huge state federal shit, and that is the most farthest thing that our founders wanted. They wanted state rights and a small government, because they know when you get a large government with lots of money and their fingers, and they have the power to control or inflict pain on people. When I say inflict pain, meaning withhold food, stop people from growing, stop people from driving, raising the taxes on this, not allowing people to view things on YouTube, giving YouTube special priority to where they can't be sued, so they'll give government preferential treatment and won't post things government doesn't want. All this shit that the federal government gets their fingers in destroys freedoms, and it destroys state rights. I mean, I've said it for I don't know how long. Federal government is the biggest enemy of this freaking country, and states got to rule them in and say enough's enough. You've got to get the feds out of your schools, out of our freaking flight. I mean, I don't give a shit. If Texas wants to start an airlines, I don't think the federal government ought to say shit to say about it. If Texas wants to allow people to carry fucking guns on their airplane, why can't they? Because the feds are involved. They control the airways, and you can't fly without them. They get their fingers in, and then they start pushing this tyrannical shit. Guns are bad. We got to get the guns. This is bad. This is good. Freedom is good. Open borders are good. No one else can enforce the border, only us. But we're going to let everybody in and destroy your country. We're going to let them commit crimes and kill people and destroy your freaking country. We're going to make states responsible for educating kids that can't speak English, which takes away from American kids learning. We're going to make you pay all that extra money, but we're going to give you federal money for every kid you put in there. And we're going to give you federal money to feed them. So the states start taking this federal money. Next thing you know, they can't work without it, and the feds own them. I mean, it's a fucking big ass Ponzi scheme. It just drives me nuts that people don't get it. I mean, I think my guys get it. Most people watch me understand it. AR is what caliber? 9mm, 5.56 3 blackout, 458. Well, I think most AR standard is 5.56 223, which is the same round. But that's your standard AR. You can get different platforms. I mean, you get an AR in just about anything. Get it in 22, 308. I mean, whatever. But I mean, we don't even know what pistol he got. That's another question I had on this. The guy went and bought a rifle, right? He bought 2 rifles, 2 different days. He doesn't have a driver's license. Who drove him there? Who took him to get those guns? If he didn't have a driver's license, who was the co-conspirator to help him get to those gun shops and buy those guns and buy that ammo? And even though he bought rifles lawfully, how did he get the pistol? Nobody's asked that question. Nobody's mentioned that he's under 21. He's not allowed to have a pistol. Where did the pistol come from? Who's the pistol registered to? How did he get ammo and a pistol when he's only 18? They just want to concentrate on that mean AR and a high-capacity mag. And it's just crazy. Tatum ain't showing up. He's a simp. I'll laugh. He comes in here like gives me $1 tip and says, see you, or fuck you guys. I would laugh. Yeah, hit the like button because it pisses off freaking YouTube. Hey, Jennifer. And he wasn't rescued over 1.5 hours after he was shot. Yeah, I know. He was shot twice with an AR, laid there, supposedly bled, lung, blah, blah, blah. But after he was shot, he was able to say to the kids, I'm going to act like I'm asleep too. And somebody kind of corrected me in the comments saying, I don't think that's what he said. I think he said that before he got shot. Okay, whatever. I love Jennifer's outfit in this little picture. Anyway, because reasons, what? Fraternal Order of Police. All right, I hear a lot about the Fraternal Order of Police and the union. Look, people, this is bullshit that people are kind of scamming you with. The unions have freaking very, very little power. The only thing that the unions can really do is maybe put pressure on the chief and do a vote of no confidence on the chief and kind of hurt him politically, and maybe put pressure, if they got the community behind them, for the people to put pressure on the city council to get rid of the chief. That's about the only thing the cops can do. And it's not very easy to do. And most agencies don't do it because once the freaking association turns on the chief makes your life hell. He starts going by the letter. He starts fucking taking away overtime. He starts nitpicking policy. Your hair's touching this. Your uniform isn't clean. And he starts writing, and he just starts attacking everybody because that's what they do. They make all these rules so they can attack you when they want, just like government. We got freaking 1 million laws, and they can make anybody's life miserable when they want to. They can come out here and, write me up for some environmental shit if they want to in my house, or say this is wrong, or I'm doing this and we're going to fine you and you should have done that, or we saw you dripping oil when you changed your oil, you're corroding the environment. There's all kind of ways that government can put pressure on people. And that's the problem. That's called tyranny. Government is supposed to stay out of our lives. We're supposed to have freedom to be free of government. Fraternal Order of Police or unions do not have that much power. They don't get people to keep their job. They don't. The only thing that an association does is normally if you pay dues, those dues pay for you to have legal representation. And the only thing that stops crooked politicians and people from using cops, good cops, as pawns and as throwdowns when they fuck up is because we have lawyers and representation. They know what's going to be, and they're going to lose if it goes all the way. See, before cops didn't have lawyers on standby that could hold the government back, they would just trash a guy. They would fire him and say, get your job back. Go hire a lawyer if you want to. They know it costs money. They don't release anything. They make your lawyer try to get everything. They don't give anything. So over time, especially in California, cops have gotten a lot of the Bill of Rights, Peace Officer Bill of Rights, and it gave cops a lot of protections. Of course, those protections can be abused, that bad cops get to use it and get to stay bad cops. I get it. But the alternative is there was a lot of shit that attorneys or cops or chiefs would have asked me to do, and I couldn't have said no, or I'd lose my job. And I know a lot of people, well, you took it off, then you should just lose your job. You people, everyone that goes to work does something that they don't like or don't agree with, and they aren't in there telling their fucking boss to kiss their ass quitting their job. Okay? So when cops get their job, the problem is they're more worried about keeping their job than doing their job. Just like politicians, most all government employees, they're more worried about keeping their job than doing their job. They don't give a shit about doing a job. They don't care about the pesky citizen. They care about keeping their job. And that's a problem. We don't have this American spirit to where, you know what? I don't want to waste money. That's taxpayer money. I pay taxes. My neighbors pay taxes. I'm part of government. It's my responsibility to call out waste. It's my responsibility to look for the cheapest price. It's my responsibility to be frugal with taxpayers' money because it's my money. It's my neighbor's money. We don't have that anymore. I got mine. I'm a government employee. I got my benefits. Fuck it. I don't care. You know, that's the attitude. Tatum better come on. I need some entertainment. What's up with Tate? He ain't here yet when Tatum is coming on live. Well, I did tell him that I do a live at 7. So it's 6:50. So we got to give him at least, how long have I been? I've been on for an hour. Wow. All right. I'm going to give him to maybe 7:15 or 7:30. What time is it? 6:50. All right. I'm going to set Alexa, set timer for 25 minutes.
25 minutes.
All right.
Now.
So it's 7:15. I know I got to get the hell out of here or I'll be here all night bitching and complaining. All right. I don't think it's conspiracy, but I would like to see some photos. I would too. I mean, the fact that we're not getting one body cam, we're not getting any of the police radio. I mean, how secretive is the police radio unless you're trying to hide something? Hey, I need assistance. Hey, we got a school shooting. All units respond. We hear 911 calls routinely from all kind of crimes. This crime, it's like a 911 blackout. We get transcripts. We get bits and pieces. We haven't got any body cam footage. No school footage. We get one little blurb of the guy entering a door. That's it. That's it. One blurb, one 2-second blurb of him entering the school. Shitty, grainy footage. We got no body cam, no 911 calls. There were multiple 911 calls. We don't get grandmother's 911 call. Grandma's in there. We haven't heard shit about why he shot her, how he got the pistol. Did she know he had a pistol? Did she know he had a gun? How did he get her truck? Did he keep the car? Did she let him use the car to go buy the guns? Did you know he had guns? We haven't gotten any of that. We don't know shit except this new narrative every day. We got to tear down the school. We got to get those mean ARs and we got to get those big magazines because that'll keep you safe. We got that dumbass teacher calling for more laws, even though the guy freaking broke over 150 or 50 laws at least, probably close to 100 laws by the crimes that he did. This idiot's calling for more laws. Everyone has different experience in this situation. The girl could have heard that to withstand the shooting. I don't think so, because she described the song, and a lot of people knew what song it was. He was playing Songs to Die or Death Song. How is Tatum going to defend these clans? I don't know. I'd like to hear that, too. It'll be interesting. No conspirators here. Cover up co-conspirators, sure. Government education gave your kid a child killer great training. I'm not a false flag person, but this Idaho thing stinks. The Gulf of Tonkin. Tatum's late. Is it past 7? I told him I usually come on at 7, so he might be waiting till 7. I've been at shooting that. That's another thing. This teacher kind of heard everything. The kid heard everything. Yet this guy fired 100 rounds. Let me tell you something, people. If you've ever, just even under the freaking, if you've got a shed and you're standing in the shade at an open range, and I say open range, meaning it's open. It's not an enclosed building with little sally ports. It is an open range, but you've got a covered area. When you shoot an AR and forget to put your earplugs in, and you're outside that covered area, it's loud and it makes your ears ring. But if you move under that covered shed and you get that immediate, reverb, whatever the hell it is, reflection from the roof, that shit is so freaking loud. If you're in a car or in a room and you accidentally fire a gun, it's freaking loud and your ears ring. We're being told this guy shot 100 rounds, decapitated kids, cut all their arms off and piled them in a corner. No pictures, no nothing, no blurred out pictures, no nothing, no child funerals, no ambulances and that's another thing. I never did see one ambulance transporting anybody. In this day and age, everything is videotaped. I was kind of surprised when I saw the videotape of them fighting the parents and the parents pissed off. But not one parent got a picture of a kid being loaded on an ambulance. Not one. I did see a couple of ambulances staged, but I didn't see one person loaded in an ambulance. I still don't know. I heard there were 17 injured. I don't know how many went to the hospital. Because when you say injured, if a dude's climbing out the window and he gets a scrape, that's injured. If there's a mob trying to get in for free freaking, TVs at Walmart and somebody gets knocked down, that's an injury. So when they say 17 injured, what does that mean? Did everybody that gets shot die? Were the 17 injuries all gunshot injuries? What kind of injuries were there? How many gunshot injuries? How many gunshot hits and injuries were there total? This is all basic investigative shit. Nobody works a crime scene and doesn't know these answers. When I work a body, I know. I go to the autopsy. I know. The guy counts the bullet holes. I see the bullet holes. I see the injury and I see if there's an exit. If there's not an exit, we find a bullet. They x-ray. They find the bullets. They know these answers. We're getting all this shit and we've got zero proof. I haven't seen his 4473 where he bought the rifles legally. I want to see what name he used. Why did he pass the background check? You know, he was arrested 4 years ago for making threats. Why didn't the background check hit that? Why was he approved on 2 separate occasions for 2 ARs? Where did he get the money? Where did the money come from? Was it a credit card, cash? Did he pay in freaking tokens? Did he use a freaking Bitcoin? How did he pay for the guns? What did he use? Does he have receipts? How did he get there? Who drove him there? Who drove him back? Where did he keep the guns? Were they in a safe when they searched his house? Did they find more ammo, more guns? I haven't heard anything about searching the house, the results. Nothing. I haven't seen a search warrant for the house. There's just so many things that is being either suppressed, hidden. Now, I got to admit, every freaking agency involved in this seems like an incompetent fucking buffoon. I've never seen such incompetence in law enforcement. I mean, from the press releases to the lying to the changing of the story. Now, look, all stories change when you get in these things. They're rapidly evolving. Soon we get information out at first saying, hey, here's what we know now, blah, blah, blah. That could change. And then, next day, maybe it changed. We have more information that may prove something we said later was wrong. And we thought, I'm okay with a few minor things. But a brave resource officer got in a firefight with him to nobody even returned fire ever on this guy. I still haven't got one cop. And not one cop has done an interview. Not one cop has talked. Not one cop has come out and said, hey, here's an anonymous tip. I was there. Here's what went on. Nothing. None of this is getting out. Now, supposedly Tatum has the inside scoop. And maybe he does. And if he's got all this great info, I'd love to hear it. But we'll see if he comes on. Like I said, I think it would be funny if he just pops in and says, fuck you guys. All right, where are we at here? I wouldn't be sorry. A few kids got their arms blown off. Look at Well, look, I agree there's going to be a damage. And again, when he's running around, where did he shoot 100 rounds at? How many rounds were in the doors that he shot outside? Were 75 of those rounds when he was shooting at cops? I mean, we don't know. We don't know. How did one teacher get shot twice, live, and every kid in that room was killed? Yet, while the guy is shooting people, you have cops on the outside talking to the kids, and you have kids making 911 calls for over like 30 minutes. Why wasn't the guy shooting? Did we hear shots in the background when those guys were on 911? I mean, those 911 calls need to be evaluated like we would a black box. What did we hear? What's going on? What's all the instruments saying? That you need to get all that shit from the freaking 911 calls. Why aren't we getting any of those? Why aren't we hearing what the dispatcher told the kid? Hey, sorry, there's 19 cops. They said they ain't coming in until the SWAT team comes. Maybe they don't want to see that. Maybe dispatcher's saying, I'm sorry, baby, I can't help you. The cops are being dumb and they won't come in. We don't know what said. Maybe the 911 dispatcher said, you know what, kid, if you can't talk any louder, I'm hanging up on you. I mean, we don't know. And that's the problem when government is allowed to pass off this shit and not report to the people and not have any transparency and just pack bullshit comments with no proof whatsoever. I've gotten one search warrant, and that search warrant was written by a dumbass that fucked it up and put the wrong name, and he just wanted a search warrant for the phone. That's the only search warrant that any media has got. There is lesson plans. There is after every incident we had when we were shooting, there's an after action report. Cops sit around and we critique ourselves. Not even a shooting. If I did a search warrant and it went to shit, people got away, somebody got hurt, we had to call an ambulance, something, we would say, hey, everybody at search warrant, we're having a debriefing tomorrow at 2 p.m. Show up. I'd buy donuts and we'd go in there and we'd go over it. What did everybody see? What did you know? And we'd go around the table. I think, if we'd had this, it would end up better if we had this. I wish we'd had that. Why didn't we have air support? We requested it. They weren't available. Okay. Why? And everybody goes around. We do all this freaking talk. And we make notes on all that, and then we do what's called an after-action report. I have an after-action report to the shooting on my website, so you can kind of see what an after-action, how in-depth they are. Where is it? Thinklikecop.org. I thought it was in here, after-action report. Photos, Bundy. Oh, you guys can't see that. Let me see. Shit, they're in there. All the ATF letters that they keep changing. New Zealand Mosque, that was his, I can't believe I don't have, oh, violence of, oh, no, that's not it. I think it's at the bottom. LAPD 123, New Zealand. Shit, I want to get into the bad photos. I have, oh, you know what? It's under warrants. Where's my warrants at? Do I have my warrants? I should have a list. Search warrants. Here it is. So in here, I have all the different search warrants. I have my master search warrant that I used to use. I have the search warrant of Michael Jackson, domestic violence search warrant, a murder search warrant, a sexual assault search warrant, a federal search warrant for anthrax, doing an anthrax square. Every search warrant that I can get, I usually do a video over and I go over it. But I thought in here I had one on after action. It was the Navy shooting. There it is, Washington Navy shooting after action report. You click on it, it brings up a PDF, and it goes through everything we did wrong, who all was there, different issues, what type of emergency, suspect, what we knew. This is a good after action report on what we should be seeing on this incident. And I don't think we're going to see shit, but whatever. Let's see here. Teachers can't figure out how to close a fucking door. Well, that was a big deal because I don't think those doors were locked. If the locks kept the police out, why didn't it keep bad guy out? And if the bad guy was able to break the window or shoot the lock, why couldn't the cops do that to get in? Either they're cowards or the doors weren't locked, or they're cowards and the door weren't locked. I don't know if I see pictures of dead kids. Well, it can be blurred out. Did you watch the Ukraine video of the president to Congress? They showed a dead kid. I mean, look, dead kids aren't great to see. I'm not saying, but the more dead bodies you see, the more desensitized you get. That's why doctors and people or people that work in, you know, if you work in a morgue, dead bodies don't mean shit. My neighbor over here worked in a morgue, and he was all kind of crazy shit. He had formaldehyde, all kind of good shit at the house. Formaldehyde's hard to get. If you can get some, it's pretty good to have on hand. But anyway, I digress. So the more you see, the more you get desensitized. It's not a big deal. So, and you learn how to cope with it. That's why you can joke about it. That's why, you know, you joke doing autopsies. People make jokes and eat and do all kind of stupid shit. And most people will be like, oh my God, that's fucking this guy. But if you do something every day, you just get desensitized to it. You know, I mean, people that aren't around horses, when a horse takes a shit and it stinks and it hits the ground right next to them, they're like, oh, ooh, and they freak out and panic. Somebody that's around a horse all the time is like, that's what horses do. They take a shit and they eat grass. I mean, that's no big deal. I mean, you know, on Horse Channel, I'll pick up a horse after he poops and break it open and look for worms. People are like, oh my God, he didn't have gloves on. What did, you know, so it all depends on your frame of reference and what you're doing. But look, seeing a dead kid, it's not something that you should want to see, and I don't want to see it. But when it comes to evidence and not knowing, I would rather see it and be either shocked and informed than stick my head in the sand and say, oh, I'll just trust the government, rather than seeing something that might offend me. That's not me. That may be you, and that can be you. I'm not saying you're a bad guy if you believe that. That's not me. I want to fucking see the proof. I don't believe government. I don't trust government. I worked in government 30 fucking years since I was 17. I've watched government lie, manipulate, withhold shit, waste money. I don't believe shit government says. So if y'all remind me before we get out of here, I'll talk about, because I mentioned that my buddy had me involved in this scheme that was going to get me thrown in jail, and we've done it. It's over. So I'm going to go. I'll talk about it if you guys remember me. Lung blower, 9 mils. Schools should have the same armed security as banks. Well, I mean, look, bank armed security guards are told not to engage the guy. They're mainly to make people feel good. There is no bank security guard. If you walk up to him and go, hey man, if a guy comes in and robs him, are you supposed to shoot him? No, man. we're supposed to be a good witness and not get involved. We don't want to start shooting because he may shoot someone else and we don't want to get blamed. I guarantee you that's what they'll tell you. But, you know, people run there, oh, he's got a gun, we must be safe. He ain't there for your protection. You are responsible for your safety and only you. And when you give that responsibility to someone else, you give them the ability to withhold it, to not do it, to fuck it up, and you get to pay with your life. That is just a dumb move. Rick, you can't call people dumb. Whatever. Be a dumbass. I don't care. 3 times. What? Jennifer, 3 times? You go, girl. Tatum called out Matthew McCallum in his speech. I didn't know. I don't even know what the speech is. Hydrostatic shock, do that. Well, hydrostatic shock, when you have high speed, there's 2 different ways that a bullet does damage. And I think most of my audience probably knows this. But, and I've got a couple pictures on here, but if I show them YouTube, it was shit fit. So let me go to Google and show bullet. See, cavity. See if that brings it up on some images here. And we'll show about primary and secondary. Okay. So in this little picture here, if you look at this, where the bullet goes straight, this red area, that's the primary bullet cavity. It's the same size as the bullet, and it makes a hole. This blue area is kind of what's called the shock or the expansion of gases. As this bullet hits at high speed, 1,000 feet per second or whatever, it pushes mass out of the way. Let me see if I can open this up in a new link. Get a little bit bigger there. It pushes mass out of the way so fast that it creates this secondary cavity. Now, if it's something small or it's close, it will literally blow a hole, like the arm where the guy got shot and you see the skin blown out. The bullet went in so fast and it moved that energy so much the skin couldn't hold that pressure, so the pressure blew out. But if you get hit in the body, it's not going to blow out a rib or a lung or whatever. It just creates that big air bubble, so to speak, this blue area inside, and that's called the secondary cavity. The faster the bullet, the bigger the secondary cavity, because the faster it's removing mass. So when you're shooting small children, the odds of that mass exploding through the arm is good. But for the bullet to explode, if I'm hitting the arm both ways to sever an arm, I'm not sure. I mean, I can't remember the last time I shot meat. I know we've done some bullet tests on meats, but I'm pretty sure if you go on YouTube and search shooting legs or hams or chickens or pigs with a 223, their leg is not much bigger than a child's arm. And I've never seen a leg blown off by 223. Never. Could it? I mean, I'm just telling you. So speed causes that secondary cavity. That secondary cavity, that balloon, that air bubble, that massive pushing very fast, that shock factor that pushes the meat, lungs, organs, it moves it. It creates sometimes blood loss if it tears it. It creates a shock factor. It creates pain, nerve ending, etc. And then the hole itself is usually where the blood comes out. So the bigger the hole, the more you're going to bleed, depending on what the hole goes through, whether it's an artery or a vein or just muscle or fat, you get less bleeding. Big, fat belly guys, they get shot in the belly, rarely bleed. Their fat just seals in the hole and they don't bleed. So you'll see a little, maybe a blood drop, you'll see a little hole, and it'll be like, is that a shot? And then you move the fat, and it'll actually open up. And you're like, yeah, that's a fucking bullet hole. Shit. So, my buddy and Vallejo, we were at this. We were taking pictures of some of this dead body of the shooting. We had to go get some pictures because we were interviewing somebody. All the cases run together. But I remember we're in there, and he's like, hey, he goes, how big is that? And this is before, you got to realize, gloves didn't come out and weren't big for cops for probably, I don't know when gloves became popular. Hospitals always had gloves. Every once in a while, a cop would carry a set of gloves. Usually it was for not contaminating evidence. It wasn't for wearing them. If I wore gloves, it was leather gloves, and that protected them, and then they collected the dirt. They were germ factories. But cops didn't have these disposable gloves. They weren't readily available. Hospitals could only get them. They weren't sold easily, so cops didn't carry them. Now it's pretty standard. I would say probably, I'm going to say in the late 80s, maybe the mid 90s is when gloves became popular for law enforcement. So this was before that. My buddy goes in there. She's laying on a sledge. Got a couple bullet holes. And I was like, damn, I don't know if that's fucking 9mm or 45 because there was a couple of covers. He goes, hang on, man, because my little finger's a 9mm. I know. And so he sticks it in. I'm like, dude, that's just fucking wrong. Oh, shit, that was Kelly. I won't say his last name. He's my bud. Anyway, all right. I don't know how I got on that fucking. I get on these crazy topics. Who would like to hear? Who could hear anything? I know with 100 rounds, not 1 or 2 rounds, but imagine multiple rounds shooting at the cops. You didn't have to worry about the cops' rounds. All the cops could hear because they weren't shooting. So they could all hear fine. But the kids locked in a room with that reverberation off the walls and the ceilings and that loud percussion. And when that bullet comes out at 3,000 feet per second and it breaks the sound barrier and that crack, I mean, it's just, the noise is freaking amazing. All right, assault pickle. That's what she said. It doesn't matter if he was driving a car through the Christmas. Oh, yeah. The Christmas killing where that dude drove through and wiped out people. It wasn't an assault car. We didn't need to outlaw cars. We didn't need to increase background checks for cars. We need to get rid of cars that go too fast because he went through the parade too fast. We need to get rid of cars with big bumpers because when they hit somebody, it hurts them. So in order to stop bumper violence and car violence, we need to have more car control and more bumper control. It's never that way. I'm telling you, government hates an armed society because that is the only thing that gives us a fighting chance. Remember, for an unarmed society to overthrow a tyrannical government, it takes over 50% of the people to agree. You can never get 50% of the people to agree. Never. Not to mention 50% of the people that would agree to go armed violence against the government. That's why most coups and everything fail. You just don't have the people. And when you're unarmed, it takes 50% of the people to overthrow a tyrannical government. Unarmed populace, it only takes 3% to overthrow a government because the numbers are so much. I mean, you know, when government's the only one with the guns, the pesky citizen loses, period. There's no country in the world that anybody claims we have freedom and we control our government when only the government has guns. You're just not going to hear that statement. We still say it here, and we'll probably say it once they try and take the guns. They ain't taking my guns. I mean, you got to pick a stand somewhere, unless they just catch my pants down. I mean, everybody's got to pick a stand somewhere, and I get it. If you're younger and you got your whole life in front of you, you're less likely to want to take that stance. Our founders had it made. They had huge properties. They had money. They had plantations rich with food and wealth, and they were smart, and they were high members of society, and they gave it all away in order for the good of everybody to get rid of the damn redcoats and the tyranny. And what we've done with it is a freaking sin that we've allowed our government to become worse than the redcoats. That's right, I said it. Our government is worse than the redcoats. And I mean, they're shooting people up there. The revolution started almost because kids threw rocks at a few soldiers in the shoulders, and one of the redcoats shot the kid and killed him. And that started a huge riot. And one of our founders defended him and said, hey, even he has a right to have an defense. Even though he's wrong, even though I don't like the redcoats, even though I want him out of here, he still shouldn't be hung in some kangaroo court. And he deserves a defense. And he defended a redcoat. Now, I don't remember. I haven't read it in a while on whether or not he was guilty or whatever happened. But, I mean, that started. People were outraged that a redcoat shot a kid for throwing a rock at him. We got cops killing people. You ain't got to throw the rock. You just got to reach for the rock. You got to have a rock in reaching distance that makes the officer safety. You got to have your back turned carrying a gun away. You get shot in the back. You got to answer your cell phone and it look like a gun and we'll shoot you. You got to raise your hand too fast and I thought something was in it and they're killing us. They are killing people. The redcoats would have never been able to kill the way our cops are killing now. And people are like, well, you know what? You should just listen to the cops. And back then they were saying, you know what? You should listen to the redcoats. It's just, it's really, sometimes I think about it and I'm just like, am I really the only crazy one out here? And I mean, that's what they want you to think. I'm the crazy. If you agree with me, you're crazy. Therefore, you crazy people need to shut up, or we need more laws on you, or we need to take your guns away, or we need to red flag you, or we need to say that you need a mental evaluation, or we need to say that you don't understand, you're not smart enough to carry a gun, or you're a danger to yourself because you believe such stupid stuff that our government could ever do anything as bad as the redcoats. Wake up, people. Come on. Good luck, America. Let's see. Hang on. I haven't got my comments. I'm way behind on comments. Let me go down here. Cops 1,600% more people than mass shooters. That's probably true. I mean, that sounds like a made-up fake stat, but that's probably true. I mean, it's just crazy. All right, back to blue line terrorists like Tatum. I don't know if Tatum's a blue line terrorist. He's a cop supporter. He's a cop lover. He's got his beliefs. I kind of wish, I was hoping he would come here and defend him. Oh, it's 7:15. What the hell's up with my girl? She didn't set the alarm off. John Adams represented the guy. Not guilty. Oh, okay, thanks. I didn't know if it was Adams or I thought I was thinking of the other guy. It starts with an M. I can't think of his name. But it was Adams that defended him. Okay. Who's the guy that said, I must study politics so my kids will have a choice? Alexa, stop. What? Did she hear me? She's still flashing. She's not flashing me her boobies. Alexa, stop. Okay, she got me that time. Who's the guy that said I must study politics so my kids will have the freedom to study mathematics or science? And the theory behind that was if you don't understand how politics will shut down and take over and stop all freedoms, and you or your children will not have the ability to learn or become smart because the government wants you stupid, you better understand politics. That's why when I was young, I don't care about politics. Politics pain in. You know, you got your life, you're working on your career, you're looking at your next job, you're chasing your next skirt, you're waiting for your big night out, drinking with your buddies, poker game, whatever. When you're young, you just don't have time for politics. You don't watch the news. You're too busy living life and enjoying life. I get it. I was there. But it's really important that you train your kids and teach your kids, hey, you need to watch. This is how government takes over and ruins a country. This is how governments fail. This is how countries fail. This is how freedom fails. I mean, if you can't look at our border and see how this country is just a complete failure. I made a list of the ways that people are going to start, and I'm making a prediction here. Where is it? Okay, here's how I think they're going to start weaponizing fentanyl, because fentanyl is pretty cheap and it's pretty freaking deadly. So I don't know if you guys can see that or not. Maybe I can make the writing a little bit bigger. Let's see here. Where's my shit? I can't make the writing bigger here. What the hell? Can I zoom? Yeah, I can zoom. All right, here we go. So here are just some simple ways that I think somebody is going to start weaponizing fentanyl. They're going to place it at school grounds or on playgrounds or on the toys, and kids are going to get on it and they're going to die. And then you're going to hear why they did it with some cause, because that's what terrorists do. Okay. So that's an easy way. We're letting fentanyl. They already bring in 1 month. They bring enough fentanyl to kill every person in this country. We don't have that many drug users, people. I know we got a lot of drug people, but they ain't using that much drugs. They'd all be dead. So where the hell is all this fentanyl going? I think fentanyl is the new anthrax or the new freaking weapon of mass destruction. And it isn't going to take much for them to use this day. So you watch. Here's what's going to happen. They're going to start placing it on school grounds. They're going to throw it out at school grounds where they play. They're going to leave it to where kids will find it. They're going to make an attack on a school under the name of some bullshit. Next thing you're going to do, they're going to throw it on a cop's face at traffic stops. These cartels and these people with weapons, when cops come up to you, they're going to have a mask on to protect themselves from COVID, and they're going to have a little fentanyl in a cup. And when a cop comes up and goes, hello, fine citizen, I'm about to fuck up your life and give you a ticket because I ain't got no fucking life, they're going to take that cup and go right in their face. Cop's out. I mean, it doesn't take but 0.2 milligram or something to kill you with fentanyl. That's another way that you're going to watch cops being used, weaponized by fentanyl. And you know what they're going to say? It's not the border's fault. No. We're letting all these people bring fentanyl in. No, that's not a problem. Rick, you're just a racist. Okay. They're going to put some fentanyl in a leaf blower, and they're going to walk by or drive by a parade, a busy area with a lot of people. And they're going to click that leaf blower on, and that fentanyl is just going to be turned into a big dust ball. And people are going to die, and somebody's going to claim for whatever reason they want. Because that's what terrorists do. They find weapons that they can use. And here we are concentrating on this mean AR and getting it out of citizens because our government is really more worried about patriots and American citizens than they are about keeping us safe for real crime or real criminals. They don't care about the border. They don't care about fentanyl. They don't care about that illegal that broke out of jail, that killed somebody who was in murder, and the government let him get out of jail, and then he killed a family of 5. They don't give a shit about any of that. They say they do, but they don't care. They are more concerned about lawful, good American patriots having the ability to defend themselves against the government having guns. That's their priority. And if you can't see that, I don't know what else to tell you. Let's see. They're going to have a straw loaded. And they did this with anthrax. And I think the Russians did this. They had a little gun that they pressed a button and it shot a little dust. I forgot what the dust was, but it killed you. And they would take an antidote. And there's an antidote for fentanyl. There's the, what's the shit you throw in there? The plug, the big drug that everybody gives away. You can get it for free. Somebody sent me some. It's almost like the anti-overdose thing. So they're going to hit themselves with that, and they're going to throw fentanyl, blow it out of straw, put it in a leaf blower, leave it around a school. This is coming, people. Rick, you're going to cause, you're inciting. I'm not inciting anything. I'm making a prediction. When we don't control our border and we let all this shit come in by the thousands of pounds, our recoveries are in the thousands of pounds, if not tons, of fentanyl. And it's not a problem. The borders are still fucking wide open. We got military. We're spending $58 billion in Ukraine. We got military in like over 200 bases across the world. Our military, United States citizens across the world in over 200 places. Somebody can look up the exact number. But we can't get our military on our fucking border and stop this fentanyl, drugs, illegals, crime, violence, and gangs coming in. And you know what? American people are okay with it. They're still voting for the left. They're still worried about fucking Roe versus Wade. They're still concerned about getting that mean AR and high round pass. They don't give a shit about the damage. I mean, we had literally a terrorist group coming in to kill an ex-president across the border. No news, no big deal. We caught them. Good job. We stopped them. No big deal. It's like, how do you not see the elephant in the fucking room of destroying country? Let's see. How would I want to destroy this country? I'll make a big fucking government agency that is called the TSA, and I'll search little old ladies and little kids at airports to make people think they're safe, and it'll cost billions a year. And then I'll open the border and I'll allow gang members, weapons, fentanyl, and terrorist people coming in, and I'll just open the border. Matter of fact, I'll make it easier and I'll remove the COVID restrictions so more people can come over. Matter of fact, I will make sure the states aren't allowed to stop these people, and as a federal government, we can let more people over. I mean, it's like a freaking playbook to destroy this country. And nobody's like, get those mean ARs from the citizens. They're the problem. Whatever. What's the other thing? Okay, have a straw, blow it in the face, sprinkle it on toilet seats. I mean, what are you going to do if you go to a public toilet place and you sprinkle fentanyl or white dust on a toilet seat? You sit down, you're dead. You are dead. If somebody goes in there and shoots up a little fentanyl and a little bit of dust gets on a toilet seat and you go in there and sit down, you're dead. Now, I always wipe toilet seat and lay toilet paper, and I don't use public restrooms that much. But if you sit on a toilet seat for some way and it gets it, if they touch the door when you open the toilet seat, if they go into a restaurant, remember that one group that went in and sprayed botulism on salad bars? I think it was the Wild Wild Country, that one crazy East Indian girl that was taken over, and they bought all the land, and government kind of fucked them over, and they were like, took over to city council and everything. And on the day that they were going to vote to make sure they won, they had people go to all the local small town, all the local Wendy's and all the places that had salad bars, and they squirted like botulism shit that wasn't going to kill them, but it made them sick for like 3 days. And then they couldn't go vote. So they did it like the day before the election, and half the people didn't show up to vote because they were sick, and they caught them doing it. So why couldn't they do that with fentanyl? Sprinkle a little fentanyl on a couple of salad bars, kill a few people, then claim. I mean, you people, it's kind of funny when I see kind of like people that are like, man, you're crazy. You're paranoid. I'm like, you know what? I'm probably the most realist person around. I mean, I'm not saying in the world, but if you know a bunch of people that you think are real, I'm a pretty realist. And I'm pretty good at predicting shit that happens, especially when it comes to government or criminal or crimes, because it's just been my life for my entire life. So you can call me crazy, but I'm telling you. Okay, so what about this? Did you hear, somebody posted this, did you hear about the Michigan town that won't respond to 911 calls because gas is too much money? So it's the Isabel County Sheriff Michael Maine announced the measure June 7th. So just like I've said 1,000 times in 1,000 videos, government creates a crisis, they tell you who to blame, and their answer is always the same. We need more money and we need more people. Now we're adding, we need more training, because more training is more money. Anytime you get training, you just need to hear, when you hear training, you need to hear budgets, training officers, training time off, travel time, hotel room expense. You need to put all that every time you hear training, because that's what it is. So those are always the answer for every government failure. More money, more training, more people. Government creates this shit. So government shuts down. They make the prices high as hell. They make it. And now the first thing they do, the other thing I always say on my videos, the first thing that government always threatens when they want to raise taxes is they tell the pesky citizens, we're going to have to cut services. Now, normally, if you don't need government services, you don't care. But government doesn't like that. Government wants you to depend on the services. So when they cut it, they'll get you through extortion to agree with whatever they want to say. So they pull school safety. We don't have enough police officers. We need more police. We can't respond to your calls. We can't do this. We don't have the ambulance to get there. Unless you give us more money, we can't pay the firemen. We can't pay. So they get these services, and then they tell you they'll threaten to withhold them. That's why you never give government the ability to protect you or provide you with anything, because they will use it against you and fuck you later down the road. What else did I have in here? Shit, those are the only two things that I copied. My list is on my other computer downstairs on the questions. Anyway, I'm way past. I'm 7:30. I started at 6. Looks like Mr. Tatum did not come. Damn. That's too damn bad. I'm kind of bummed. Tate! Now look, I got to give the guy the benefit of the doubt a little bit. To be fair, he's got a channel. He's got a radio show. He's got a lot going on in his life. Maybe his intention was to come. Maybe he wants to go have a night out with the family. It's Saturday night. Maybe he doesn't want to come here and argue with me. Whatever. I wish he would have came. I wish he would contact me so we can schedule it and say he's going to be there. This was kind of like he made a comment. Hey, put me on your next live. And that was my video where I did a thing to him. And I said, no problem. I do it here, 7 o'clock Saturday, every Saturday, 7 p.m. You're welcome. So he could have came, but maybe he had plans, whatever. So it's easy to jump to the conclusion that he's a piece of shit, he's scared and all that. Yeah, maybe, maybe not. I wish he would have came. I hope he comes later. All right. I love your bedhead, Rick. Well, thank you. I'm going for the who's my cooking dude? Shit, Ramsay. I'm going for the Gordon Ramsay look. Gordon Ramsay's my hero for cooking, and I love that guy. And I love, if you haven't watched, you want a good videos of Gordon Ramsay that's really fun and enjoyable to watch, go when he's cooking with his daughter Tilly. She is so freaking funny because she's the daughter that, I mean, I just love her relationship with him because she gives him shit. I can tell she's like, I don't give a shit if you're a big star, blah, blah, blah. You're just dad to me. And she just kind of gives him shit and doesn't listen. And she's filming. He's like, pan down, pan. And she goes, I know. And he's like, I'm telling you, they make the best videos together. Okay. I still think he's kind of a left wing. So I'm a little reserved about liking him too much, but he seems like a pretty good dude. And he's definitely a freaking killer cook, but he's got the Gordon Ramsay kind of messed up hair look all the time. That, you know, what I've noticed is that I've let my hair kind of get long and kind of grown out, and I don't wear a hat as much. I usually always wear a hat outside. And lately I haven't worn a hat a lot. And it's because I'm like, oh, I got all this hair. It's too hot when I wear a hat. And to be honest, I'd rather wear a hat to keep the sun off my face and off my head and everywhere. But so this hair is going to be gone soon. So you know what? If somebody wants me to make a pillow out of it, I'll auction it off. You guys want to bid on it? Like somebody wants to bid for my freaking hair or whatever. I'm just being, I got to get out of here. All right. Y'all have, hey, if y'all haven't watched The Boys, great series on Amazon. I've freaking finished it. They just did a new episode. I've watched season 1 and 2. That is a funny ass show. Women, it's kind of guy humor. So some women, I mean, there's some women that like guy humor, but some women are like, Dumb and Dumber is the worst movie. It was stupid. I love Dumb and Dumber. Guys like kind of silly, stupid. This show has sex, humor, stupidness. I mean, and goriness. Oh my God, it has got some great special effects for heads being blown off and bodies being torn apart. And I mean, this show, I really love that show because you don't have to think about it. It's kind of good. But it's got a plot. It kind of goes somewhere. I enjoyed the shit out of it. So if you haven't watched The Boys on Amazon, I think it was a great show. I loved it. My buddy hooked me up. Oh, I forgot to talk about freaking the ex hated Blazing. I love Blazing Saddles. See, that's what I'm talking about. Guy humor. It's kind of like that stupid, raw. I mean, at one point in this Boys thing, the superhero who is kind of like Superman, I think he's called, what's he called? America. I forgot what his name is. He's kind of like the big dude. He's got a cape. He's like the head dude. He can burn you with his eyes and shit. At the end, he gets pissed off of season 2, and he goes to the top of the world, and he's freaking jacking off to the freaking world. And he's like, I can fucking do whatever I want. And he's jacking off to the city, like telling them all to fuck you. I mean, it's just kind of a weird, sick, kind of dirty humor, but it's funny as shit. And the little guy that climbs up your ass and blows you up if he can get up your ass was stinking hilarious. Homelander, that's the Superman dude. So Homelander and this is a Superman dude. Dude, I'm telling you, man, that if you want a good fight, if you like Blazing Saddles and you like Dumb and Dumber, you're going to like The Boys. Okay, I'll just put it that way. Anyway, y'all, I forgot to tell about the big conspiracy on my buddy. So a few maybe weeks ago or maybe a month ago, I talked about my buddy who was a cop. He's got me involved in this financial scheme that I didn't really want to get involved in all this shit. So here it is. He bought a car he sold a car for like 120 grand to some guy up here in Texas, up in Sherman, not too far from me. But he's got to ship the car from where he's at in Oregon, Washington. I can't remember, whatever. It doesn't matter. I don't want you guys to pin him down anyway. So he's shipping this Mustang that he had, and he kind of rebuilds Mustangs and works on them and sells them. So this guy wanted to buy his Mustang. Well, he didn't want to send him like the 120 grand because he didn't want that in the bank. He didn't like cash in the bank. I don't either. I think it's stupid to put cash in the bank. We just had a big talk about FDIC insured. I hope you guys know, if your money's in a bank and the bank claims bankruptcy, FDIC doesn't pay your money. You can file a claim against the government, but they don't have to pay. So just realize, just because the government says, oh yeah, we insure your money, first of all, it's fake money the government prints any damn way. Second of all, it ain't going to be worth by the time you get it. The problem is when you need it, when shit hits a fan and things are bad, you don't have access to it. When there's a run on the banks or when people need money, everybody needs it, you're going to lose. So I don't like banks. He don't like banks. So what he told the dude to do, he's like, hey man, send me all but 50 grand and then I'll have my buddy go pick up the money. And I'm like, okay, when I hear something like this, I'm always like, I tell you, always be aware so you don't get caught in some conspiracy or some illegal crime. I'm like, dude, are we breaking any laws here? He goes, no, man, I'm selling a car. I don't want him sending me the fee. He's going to deposit 70 grand into my account, but I don't want all that money in my account. He goes, I want some cash and I don't want it in the bank. So I go, all right, well, I go, so what? You want me to go pick it up? And he goes, well, that's what I was hoping you would do. I go, but then how am I going to get it to you? He goes, I haven't figured that out yet. He goes, maybe I'll just come pick it up. I'm like, you're going to fly all the way to Texas. Why don't you just fly here and pick it all up? I mean, so, and I don't think he's up to anything else. He's just looking at an easy way to do it. So anyway, he ends up doing this. So I end up going and driving. And I didn't want to say this before because I didn't know how it was going to end up and how we were going to get the money. Because he was just going to come and fly back with it. And I go, dude, you show up at the airport 50 grand, they're going to seize that shit. They're going to say it's drug money and we need to seize it and you must be doing something. He goes, no, man, I checked with them. They said they don't care about money. In the United States, according to flying, you can fly with as much money as you want. You just, if you're going overseas, the max you can take, I think, is 10 grand. But in the States, you can fly whatever you want. I don't believe that, but whatever. I think government's out of control. And if they catch you with 50 grand, I think they're going to try and snag it or make you prove it. And I go, how are you going to prove it's yours? And he goes, I'll tell them I sold a car. I go, dude, they're going to want to see a receipt. And he goes, well, I mean, I guess I can get the guy to give me your. So we're going through all this shit. And I'm like, dude, I just don't think you can carry 50 grand. I go, why don't you just have him mail it to you? He goes, oh, man, I don't trust post office. I'm like, okay. So I went and got the money. And he's like, man, I got to come down there. Gas prices are up. Airlines tickets are like freaking out of control. It's going to cost me $700, $800 just to fly there to get it. And, and I'm like, dude, I said, why don't you let me just mail it? I said, there's got to be some secure way. I said, I can't be the only guy that's not selling secure shit. So I call the post office. I start researching. Registered mail is the most secure way to share something. So I call my postmaster over here that I know. And I'm like, dude, I said, how often do you guys lose registered mail? He goes, never. I go, what? He goes, no. I said, you never lost a registered letter? He goes, no. I go, he goes, no. He goes, it's signed. He goes, that's the best. He goes, it's expensive, but he goes, we don't lose it. He goes, we got a guy that ships like, I think he said 75 or 250 grand worth of gold coins like twice a year to him. And he goes, it comes through here registered all the time. Never had a problem. I go, are you serious? He goes, yeah. So I called my buddy back and I'm like, dude, let me just send it registered mail. He goes, oh man, maybe you should just send half, or I'd rather come down and get it. The mail will lose it. And so we're going through. And then he's like, well, why don't you just go deposit it in my account for me? He goes, I'll give you my Wells Fargo account. I go, dude, if I go deposit 50 grand in your account, they're going to want my ID and they're going to flag me like, where did I get that money? And they're going to try to say that's income or I'm selling or doing. I said, if I deposit that shit, there's going to be freaking a track to me. And I said, I told you, I don't mind picking it up, but I don't want to be involved in any shit. So he's like, well, if you just deposit, 220 grand, I go, dude, when you start depositing any increments of money, the feds see that as what's called structuring, and you're trying to avoid the reporting. Anything over 10 grand, the bank has to report. But if I make 3 deposits of 9 grand and 999, right under 1,000 or right under 10,000, that's called structuring, and that's a crime. I'm trying to avoid the reporting of the 10,000. So I was like, man, I don't want to get into multiple things. I said, if you want me to deposit it all, you give me a letter or something. And I made him email and text me a thing saying, hey, all you're doing is picking up money from a car sale. This guy owes me 50 grand. I want you to pick up the money and hold it for me. So I got a text just in case somehow this turned into shit. I didn't think he was doing anything illegal, but you just never know. So anyway, so I go pick up the money from the dude. And of course, I'm counting this shit out in the parking lot. Fucking $100 bills, fucking whatever. So he gives me the money. I'm like, okay, cool. I said, it's good. He goes, okay, you're going to let him know that I paid you? And I go, yeah, I'll text him. So I text him. I go, dude, I got the cash. He's paid. And the reason we had to do it quick is because he had to send the car Saturday. And he calls me on Thursday. Hey, dude, I got to get this money picked up because I don't want to send a car until I got the money. And now I've only got 2 days. Can you meet him tomorrow? I'm like, all right. I said, yeah, dude, what time you want to meet him? I'll go meet him tomorrow. All right. So I go meet him at the best pawn shop in Sherman. Nice guy. Gives me the money. He had it paper clipped into 2,000 things. So I could only count $2,100 bills a bunch of times, which made it a lot easier to count and quicker. So I counted the money. He was good. I left the money in the car. I went in and looked at some guns inside. They just sold a 50. I was checking out the guns and shit. And then I come back to the car. And he told me, he goes, dude, once you get this money, don't be leaving in your car like you do with your guns and your other shit. I left my keys in my car and the money was in the car. My guns are in my car. And, I got that remote lock on my Ford. So I just locked the doors and said, fuck it, whatever. What's the chance somebody's going to steal my car or take my guns? And I had a gun on me if I came out there, but whatever. So anyway, I go in, I get the money. So finally we decide to send it registered mail. So I package it up and everything. And then there's like, you got to declare whether it's cash. I go, why? I said, it doesn't say that on the form. He goes, I think you got to tell them if you're sending cash. I said, I looked online. Post office doesn't require you to tell them you're sending cash. They say they don't recommend sending cash, but they don't say you got to report what it is. And when I went to go get it, you could, for registered mail, you can only insure a max of $50,000. So I was sending 50 grand. So I was like, actually it ended up being 48 grand, but whatever. So I was sending 50 grand. So I just declared it as, they go, what's the value? And I said, 48 grand. And so they wrote down 48 grand. They didn't ask what it was for nothing. So I sent the package. It cost $121 with 50 grand insurance, registered mail. It had tracking. I sent it Thursday and he got it today. And he goes, yo, man, I want to let you know I got it. I go, good. And he was like, man, I'd rather pay more and just, hang on, I got some yellow thing popping up over here. Sorry. Thank you. 23 years, U.S. registered mail is scarce. It is the only service that is safe for cash and cash equivalents. It's extremely secure, but slow because of chain of custody. That's what I was told, Kevin, but this was it was 3 days. I mean, I sent it from here to, I think he lives in Oregon. I think it was Oregon or Washington. 3 days, he got it. I was like, damn, that's pretty good. And it had a tracking number. And it was signed and stamped. And, I mean, it was like, that's the way to sell shit. So anyway, Ray, have you ever had a gun stolen? No, I've never had a gun stolen. Never. I might have lent a gun to somebody and they never return it. I don't consider that stolen. But no, I've never had a gun stolen. And I leave my car unlocked probably 90% of the time. I mean, I've got my car. It's got the push button start, and you just need the key fob. I put my key fob in the car. I really don't even know where it's at. It's in the car because I don't want to lose it or carry it or have it not there. It's in the car. So you get in my car and hit the start button, it's going to start. I mean, that's the way it is. Now I have the remote start on my app to where I can lock it, and I've got the keypad to unlock it. So a lot of times I'll leave it running and I'll just lock it and shut the door, and whatever. I mean, I'm just not XM250. I don't know what that is. I got a KLX 250. Are you talking about my Kawasaki? Anyway, I sent the money. He got it. I don't know. He's like, man, I said, what are you going to do with it? He goes, I'm going to keep it to where, I don't want it to be in a bank in case shit's fan or something. I go, all right, whatever. He was a cop. He was on the task force with me. The computer crimes task force. We did a lot of child porn and shit. Anyway, I got to get out of here. Y'all have a good one. I know I said bye earlier. Shh, Rick's telling secrets. I'm not telling secrets. This might be the biggest boomer on the internet. The biggest boomer? What's a big boomer? Am I a boomer? Did you carry a radio too? I know the chief needs one. That's the most stupidest shit in the world. I always had a freaking radio. A lot of times it may not work, but I always had a radio. I mean, that's just crazy to throw your radio. I mean, I told that one crazy cop story where the guy threw his gun over. Jeff Ajuar was a cop's name that got killed. He was a canine officer in Vallejo. Went upstairs, chasing a parolee. The parolee turned around. He's running. Bang, shot him one time, killed him. He runs upstairs, jumps out the second floor window. When he drops his gun because cops are shooting at him, and he drops his gun or something. So there's a sergeant out there that had just shot and killed a guy like 2 or 3 days or a week before, and he didn't want to shoot another guy. He was having problems dealing with the guy that he shot. So he looks at the guy, a parolee that just shot a cop. He didn't have a gun. He had a gun on him, and a guy was coming at him. Instead of shooting him, he took his own gun, threw it over the fence in the next door neighbor's yard, and jumped on the dude and fought him. Now, granted, most cops in Vallejo tend to be on the men's side. They don't handle, hammer a lot of pink panty pussy that can't get down to business because it's a pretty violent town. But he went to fighting a dude, and the cops were pissed. Like, why didn't you shoot him? You just killed Jeff. You should have unkilled him. And he took a lot of heat from a lot of cops. But that's the only time I've ever heard a guy throwing away a piece of equipment. I've never heard a guy throwing a radio. I dropped my radio. When I was guarding the Shah of Iran, you guys probably don't remember this, but we were friends with Iran. And when the Shah got fucking chased out or whatever, because we were paying, I don't even know all the shit, but he was staying at Wilford Hall down in San Antonio, and I was stationed down there, and we were on a guard team with the dogs to guard him. And we had a big blocked off area and shit. And he bought us like new radios and these fancy, at the time, really expensive radios, jackets, and all kind of shit. We had all the best shit because he was like spending money like crazy because we were guarding his ass. I'm out there, my dog's getting a drink and water and shit, and he kind of flinches in the water or something. I lean over with my flashlight to see what it is. That fucking brand new radio fell right in the fucking water. I was like, oh shit, I'm gonna be in big shit. I don't remember if I told somebody. I think I just turned that shit in. So I don't know if it were, I can't remember. I mean, that was many years ago, back in the 80s. But I was like, fuck, he just bought us these new radios and my dumbass dropped it in the motherfucking river right now. Shit. I blame my dog. Damn it. Hurt, you stupid. I got to get out of here, people. Shit. All right. Yeah. I'm involved in a money scamming thing. Super chats, Rick. I just saw a $10 super chat. Did I miss another one? Oh, I did. Elizabeth gave me another one. Rick, conspiracy only requires two people to be involved using a psychological reaction of the average citizen and police. The shooter is always intended to be decreased afterwards. Nobody has answers. Who finances weapons? Well, I mean, that's if you're under the impression, Elizabeth, that, thank you for the extra $100. I wonder, man, I really wish I would know when I got this money. But again, you're saying, if you believe in that there's government officials that trust. I didn't trust any cop with a crime. I wouldn't commit a crime with any cop. And most cops wouldn't commit crimes with me because I'd be like, I don't play that shit. Don't fucking pull that shit around me. I don't want to be involved in any illegal bullshit. So to me, the idea that two people would be stupid enough to conspire and to put money and to supply weapons or guns, knowing that children were going to be killed, and they weren't worried about somebody being a rat or somebody getting caught and selling them out. And, you know, I don't want to be trusting people is a huge fail for any operation. When you're in the military, when we're deploying and we're going, a lot of times we didn't even know where we were going. When we got deployed, I was on a 44-man team where we could be anywhere in the world within 24 hours. We had to be ready. So we had a bag, but we could be anywhere in the world 24 hours. When we got alerted, we had so many hours to get there. We had our bags packed, all our gear, weapons, everything. Boom, got our shit. We were palletized and on the flight, flying somewhere almost immediately. With probably under 4 to 6 hours, we were airborne. So when I was on that team, a lot of times when we took off, we didn't know where we were going. They wouldn't tell us because they didn't want somebody calling. Now, remember, this is before cell phones. People didn't have cell phones. I don't know how they do security now with cell phones. I don't know if they collect them and take them, but I mean, with cell phones, this hard part to keep it's a lot harder than it was then. You get on a plane, there ain't no damn cell phone, there ain't no damn call center. You ain't telling nobody. So then you may get your mission briefing while they're on. Here's where we're going. Here's what's going on. You know, you kind of knew for the ops plan what was going on by the equipment that you were taking, how much heavy weapons, ammo, etc. Most of the times it was fucking bullshit, exercise, testing, whatever. But they still, you don't know. So I forgot where I was going on about throwing shit away. But anyway, still don't know about the school shooting that happened here in Tennessee. Never heard anything about it. My daughter heard that it was at the school last day, but still nothing. I can't believe that. I mean, that's pretty easy to figure out, Rachel. Just call the police department and do a freedom of information request or say, hey, I want to get the 911 calls on the school shooting, or I want information on a school shooting. Was there an incident report, et cetera? What I need to do. And if they deny it and say there wasn't no school shooting, well, then you might be out of luck. But I don't think you're going to do that. You could probably swing by the fire department and talk to the firemen. They don't really give a shit about OPSEC. Shit, bring them a freaking banana and tell them you'll throw it on the highway and they get to respond. They'll be like, okay. So you could probably go to the fire department and say, hey, did you guys respond? Because if they're close to school, they responded. They got called. Do you guys remember responding to the school shooting? Do you know what happened? I haven't heard anything. They'll brief you. They'll say, yeah, Joe was on it. Hang on, let me get Joe. He'll talk to you. Fire department's not hung up like cops. Oh, I can't tell you. It's a big secret, you know, blah, 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 blah. All right. I've been on here for 1 hour and 52 minutes, 7:45. I'm out. I still got daylight. I can go check on my horses. I gave them a bath earlier. It's kind of hot. Y'all have a good one. Thanks for coming. 855 people still here. Hey, thanks, gun people. Like and subscribe because freaking YouTube, I'm still getting 100 videos a day where people comment, hey, dude, YouTube unsubscribe me. Hey, dude, YouTube is removing my likes. I come back tomorrow, my likes gone. Anyway, I'm out of here. Y'all have a good one. Good night. Thanks for coming. I'm sorry if I missed my chat a lot. I was kind of going off a lot. And I got a good video coming out on a stupid criminal. And Tatum, I wish you could have made it, dude. That's all I'll say. Well, out there, y'all have a good one. Good night.